Nani!
Look.
What about Alana?
No! You're not taking her!
Wow! Family.
This is Lilo and Stitch. They're everywhere these days, especially Stitch. In the last week, he was on the phone case of a guy I was in line behind at Target. He was all over a little girl's hoodie at my favorite pizza place. And of course, there he is, all over social media and on TV as more and more footage is released of the live-action Lilo and Stitch remake due out in May, which I will admit, coming off the heels of the disastrous Snow White remake, I too was relieved when they first unveiled what he would look like. Like most people, I'm of the opinion that it is incredibly unnecessary to remake a beautifully animated film that is only 23 years old, but if they're going to do it, at least get him right. But for all his cuteness, his fluffiness, and his crazy energy, I hope Disney hasn't lost sight of what the original 2002 film was all about. Because in case you forgot or haven't taken the opportunity to watch it yet, Lilo and Stitch isn't the simple cutesy story it appears to be.
You're crazy.
Elvis songs, surfing, alien ship chases, and ultimately Ohana. When most people think about Lilo and Stitch, they probably remember it as the movie where a little girl adopts a cute alien and teaches him all about family. And of course, it is those things. But it's also one of the most thoughtful, subtle explorations of childhood grief, trauma, and the messy path toward healing ever shown in an animated movie.
I remember everyone that leaves.
It's a deeper story about two sisters quietly drowning together, a little alien searching for his own sense of purpose, and about a broken family figuring out how to stitch itself back together.
Ohana means family. Family means
Nobody gets left behind or forgotten.
In the early 2000s, riding the wave of the Disney Renaissance, Lilo and Stitch arrived as something quietly radical. An original story marketed as a quirky, there's one in every family sci-fi adventure set against a vibrant watercolor portrayal of Hawaii, but turning out to be much, much more. This is a story about loss, being lost, and shows us what happens after tragedy. Not the moment it strikes, but the messy day-to-day survival that follows. It's a shining example of how to make a film targeted at kids about hard and real issues, but delivered in a way they can understand and doesn't talk down to them, all while being wildly entertaining and engaging for the whole family. You know, all the things Disney animated movies used to stand for, before they ran out of ideas and seemingly stopped trying. Set on the Hawaiian island of Kauai, Lilo and Stitch introduces us to Lilo Pelikai, a 6-year-old girl who's, well, different.
Every Thursday I take Pudge the fish a peanut butter sandwich.
One of the youngest Disney protagonists, Lilo is eccentric, imaginative, and fiercely independent, but also lonely. She longs for friends, but no one except her sister Nani understands her. The girls her own age in town think she's weird and don't hold back telling her so, but Lilo still calls them her friends because, well, what other options does she have? Lilo lives in the care of her sister Nani, who has been her guardian ever since her parents died in an accident. We aren't told exactly when the accident occurred, but it becomes clear it was recent. Disney animated movies have long been known for killing off their main characters' parents, but how often do we get to see the very real lingering effects this would have on a child? Lilo and Nani are never shown mourning their parents directly. There's no flashback, there's no teary graveyard scenes, but if you watch closely, the grief is everywhere. It's in the awkward silences, in the frustration boiling beneath Nani's exhausted voice and her disastrous attempt at cooking, in their sister-on-sister fights, in Lilo's strange little rituals. They're doing everything they can to survive and stay together. Their life is messy, literally. The more times you watch the movie, the more you'll pick up on the hazardous details the animators placed in every room in their house. They're scraping by, struggling emotionally and financially, while the imposing social worker Cobra Bubble shows up to monitor them, ready to take Lilo away if Nani can't right the ship.
In case you're wondering, this did not go well.
It would be all too easy to cast the social worker as the villain of the story, but watching it as an adult, you can see that he has a point, and he is shown to be firm but fair with Nani. He's the one they call in when things go horribly wrong, and it's clear that despite her best efforts, Nani has no idea what she's doing. Lilo's behavior might seem strange, but it's never random. She fights other kids, she isolates herself, and she engages in practical voodoo to punish those who have wronged her.
My friends need to be punished.
According to child psychologist John Bowlby, when kids lose their caregiver, they often struggle to trust anyone again. They cling to small things, rituals, and they often lash out. Lilo fits this exactly. Her routines are a way of controlling a world that stopped making sense when her parents passed away. And there's all her little quirks. She obsessively photographs large tourists without their knowledge, listens to Elvis as if he's the only voice who understands her, and says things that are pretty heavy for a 6-year-old.
Leave me alone to die.
To Lilo, it makes perfect sense to feed Pudge the fish a sandwich to keep him happy because he controls the weather. Myrtle calls her crazy for making up such a story, but when we find out later that her parents died in a car crash due to bad weather, it makes perfect sense why she would make up such a story that helps her rationalize why it happened and how to keep it from happening again and taking anyone else in her life away. There is a widely held theory that Lilo is meant to be autistic, or at least autistic coded. If you have anyone in your life who is on the spectrum, it's easy to pick up on, and Nani doesn't dismiss her quirks like others do. Instead, she validates her eccentricities and plays along for Lilo's sake.
My camera's full again. Aren't they beautiful?
We have a lobster door? No, we have a dog door. We are getting a dog.
His name is Stitch.
That's not a real name.
I want to buy him. Can I borrow $2?
If you've ever had to deal with a child who doesn't know how to articulate what they want or how to regulate their emotions, her tantrum after Cobra Bubble's first visit is one of the most relatable scenes in the film.
Why didn't you wait at the school? You were supposed to wait there. Lilo! Do you not understand? Do you want to be taken away? Answer me!
No!
No, you don't understand?
No!
No, what?
No!
When she thinks she sees a falling star, she doesn't pray for her parents to come back. She just asks for a friend, an angel, someone who won't leave. Into this already unstable world crashes Stitch, aka Experiment 626, a genetically engineered alien. If you only watch the first 10 minutes of the film that takes place in outer space, with Stitch's creator being questioned as to why he would make such a disastrous little creature, you would think the rest of the film wasn't going to be as deep as it becomes. Stitch is violent, he's chaotic, he's been bred for only one purpose: destruction. And like Lilo, the more he learns about himself, the universe, and his place in it, we will come to find out that he feels hopelessly, desperately alone.
Well, this is interesting.
What?
626 was designed to be a monster, but now he has nothing to destroy. You see, I never gave him a greater purpose. What must it be like to have nothing?
Lilo adopts Stitch, hoping he is the angel she was praying for. Stitch cleverly evades capture by playing along as Lilo's new dog, wreaking havoc and messing up every chance Nani has at getting stable work, while the appropriately placed Elvis Presley song "You're the Devil in Disguise" plays, emphasizing that there's a little devil hiding under this angelic, cute exterior.
This is your badness level. We have to fix that.
Ay, 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 Lilo!
Stitch is troubled. He needs desserts. Desserts!
Speaking of Nani, while Lilo acts out, Nani holds it in, for the most part.
Hey! Watch where you're going! Stupid head!
You can definitely tell that fiery personalities run in their family. An older sister thrust prematurely into parenthood. She's suddenly a mom, a provider, and a guardian, all while grieving herself. She's not much more than a teenager, and the film lets her be messy. It lets them both be messy, something I suspect will be removed or at least softened in the live-action version. She's not the calm, all-knowing parent. She's angry, she's scared, she's desperate. Family systems theorist Marie Bowen describes this dynamic as parentification, a painful reality where young adults are forced into parental roles, often leaving their own emotional needs neglected. It's incredibly common after a loss and incredibly damaging. Nani scrambles to hold everything together, trying to hold down a consistent yet monotonous job, handling Cobra's inspections, and facing the very real possibility of losing Lilo. This leaves no space for herself. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that Nani was once a promising surfing star on the rise. Her bedroom is adorned with medals and trophies from before they were orphaned, from before she had to leave her dream behind to care for Lilo. This is why she doesn't have much to fall back on, better job prospects, and can't afford reliable childcare, so she resorts to bringing Lilo and Stitch to work with her, predictably leading to her getting fired. To her credit, when Lilo asks if it was her fault, Nani doesn't place the blame on her.
Did you lose your job because of Stitch and me?
Nah, the manager's a vampire, and he wanted me to join his Legion of the Undead.
I knew it.
You'll also notice her love for another strong Disney protagonist who chose to take on responsibilities far beyond what she was ready for. When Nani sings Aloha Oi to Lilo, she's not just comforting Lilo. She's preparing herself to let go again, because in real-life situations like theirs, love usually isn't enough to keep families together.
Aloha, oi, aho ia, oh, until we meet again.
And then there's David. David isn't just comic relief. He's a symbol of the life Nani could have if survival wasn't her full-time job. David is in love with Nani, and it's obvious. He's not flashy, not dramatic, he just shows up. But Nani keeps putting him off, not because she doesn't care, but because there's no room for romance when you're in survival mode.
Don't worry, she likes your butt and fancy hair. I know. I read her diary.
She thinks it's fancy?
She doesn't have time to go to the movies, and the film doesn't frame David as a savior or a sulking nice guy. He understands, he stays patient, he represents something rare in animated films, a relationship that can wait. Love that doesn't demand space before it's earned.
I think I found you a job.
You what? Aw, David, I owe you one.
That's okay. You can just date me and we'll call it even.
Now let's talk about everyone's favorite blue alien, Stitch. Yes, he's funny, yes, he's cute, but he's also a mirror.
Why you? Does this look infected to you?
Ew, she bit me. Does this look infected to you? Yeah.
He's destructive, disconnected, misunderstood, lost. He doesn't belong, he wrecks the house, he can't connect, and he doesn't know how to ask for help. Sound familiar? Kathy Caruth, a trauma theorist, says trauma doesn't tell its story through words. It tells it through repetition, through disruption. Stitch doesn't need to be taught manners. He needs to be seen and find his own purpose outside of the one Jumba programmed him for.
Oh, great! He's loose!
His destructive programming is taking effect. He will be irresistibly drawn to large cities where he will back up sewers, reverse street signs, and steal everyone's left shoe.
The moment Stitch reads The Ugly Duckling is heart-wrenching because he sees himself in the lonely bird, wandering alone and unwanted.
That's the ugly duckling. He's sad because he's all alone and nobody wants him. But on this page, his family hears him crying and they find him.
He cries out.
Lost.
That's why his connection with Lilo matters so much. They're both broken, they both act out, they both just want to be wanted.
It was rainy and they went for a drive. What happened to yours? I hear you cry at night. Do you dream about them? I know that's why you wreck things and push me. Our family's little now, and we don't have many toys. But if you want, you could be a part of it. You could be our baby, and we'd raise you to be good. Family means nobody gets left behind. But if you want to leave, You can. I'll remember you, though. I remember everyone that leaves.
Waiting.
For what?
Family.
You don't have one. I made you.
Maybe I could.
You're built to destroy. You can never belong.
Once Stitch accepts that he's stuck on an island with no large cities to destroy and begins to learn what being part of a loving family looks like, he starts to engage, even trusting them enough to want to try out surfing when he is fully aware that he can't swim. Stitch doesn't fix Lilo, he reflects her, and that's why their bond feels so real. Unlike many family films, Lilo and Stitch never tries to magically erase their pain. It doesn't fix everything, Lilo and Nani never get their parents back, and Stitch doesn't transform into the perfect creature. Once he comes clean about being an alien and they literally have to fight to stay together and stay on Earth, they are solidified as a newfound family. It's little and broken, but still good.
This is my family. I found it all on my own. It's little and broken, but still good. Yeah, still good.
Lilo and Nani are bound to have their future struggles, but they will get to face whatever comes at them together, with Stitch, David, and a few new friends for support. That's what matters. Judith Herman, a leading trauma researcher, argues that true healing isn't about forgetting or magically repairing brokenness. It's about rebuilding a sense of safety and creating a new normal piece by piece. That's what Lilo, Nani, Stitch, and even Cobra Bubbles will do for each other. The final family photo isn't perfect, it's strange, it's stitched together, it's real, and that's enough. It's weird to think what Lilo and Stitch would have been if it wasn't set in Hawaii, but that wasn't the original plan. Originally, it was envisioned to be in rural Kansas, but creators Chris Saunders and Dean DeBlois chose Hawaii instead for its visual richness and strong emphasis on family, aka Ohana. Saunders, who also voices Stitch, originally pitched the story in the 1980s and based Lilo on his own childhood drawings. But luckily for us, it evolved into a film that embraced Hawaiian culture, with the creators even taking research trips to Kauai. And unlike many other Disney films, it was made outside the Hollywood system at Disney's short-lived Florida studio. This dynamic duo would eventually move on to DreamWorks, where they would helm the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, with Saunders' designs carrying over from Stitch to Toothless. And it's crazy to think that Saunders will get to see both his most prominent creations come back to the big screen this year, but in different forms. But even if the live-action version ends up being good, it will never live up to the unique character designs and the watercolor backgrounds of the animated film. It's a style that hadn't been used extensively by Disney since the classics like Dumbo, who shows up as a little Easter egg hiding in Lilo's room. This artistic choice gave the film its warm, intimate feel. And real-world events would have an impact on shaping the final cut of the film. In the original storyboard, they were supposed to hijack a Boeing 747 weaving through Honolulu skyscrapers, but after the tragic events of September 11, 2001, animators understandably reworked the scene into the climactic spaceship chase before its release. However, there is another alteration that's been snuck into the streaming version of the film. If you watch it on Disney+, you won't see Lilo hiding from Nani in the dryer anymore. Instead, it's been replaced by a weird-looking crate and pizza box thing. I mean, I see what they were trying to do here, but not sure how necessary this was. By today's standards, it wouldn't be known as the biggest box office smash, but it was successful for the time, and it has since become a beloved classic, if you can really call something that's only 23 years old a classic. It spawned a direct-to-DVD sequel, TV shows, and now a live-action remake that I hope won't erase the charm and hard-hitting moments for the sake of censorship. How this deeply emotional story translates into live action is something fans like me eagerly and nervously await. There's already been a few worrying signs of changes, like how you can see Lilo being pushed in hula class in the trailer instead of letting Lilo be the one who lashes out physically. You think modern Disney is really going to let live action children fight? Probably not. And I hope they keep Jumba, Pleakley, Cobra, and Captain Guntu's parts they play in the story. But what makes Lilo and Stitch endure isn't just merchandise or catchphrases, it's the fact that, quietly, it was actually about something more. 2 decades later, Lilo and Stitch endures precisely because it's honest. It's messy, it's loud, it's quiet, and it never once lies to us. It tells us grief is real, that love is hard, and that sometimes healing means simply being there, even when everything is broken. It's about what happens after loss, when things fall apart and no one knows how to put them back together. It's about a girl who's sad, a sister who's overwhelmed, and an alien who's just trying to belong. But yes, it's also funny and cute.
Stupid hair.
And that's why, more than 20 years later, this little movie about a cute blue alien and a quirky little girl is one of my favorite animated movies and still feels like one of the most honest stories Disney has ever told. But I would love to know how others feel. Do you think the live-action remake will stick the landing, or will they sanitize the story for the sake of modernity? Regardless of the quality, I have a hunch it will do incredibly well at the box office just for how adorable Stitch is alone. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe and share your own thoughts below. And I'm calling it now. There's no way we get Pleakley and Drag talking about how pretty he feels, but fingers crossed they still have Lilo dabbling in practical voodoo. But let's never forget that Ohana means family, and family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. And until next time, stay safe and stay cultured.